Guys, y'all don't understand the struggle right now. What I was just going through. Obama had me on a hunt to find us in the interview, and who else? This Georgetown University data was giving me a hard time as well. So I am live streaming. Let me update it. I don't think it kicked in yet. I haven't received it either. There you go. I think I just got it. There we go. Did y'all not put the title in there? They didn't put the title in there? Hold on. Wait a second. My end it shows I'm live streaming. Hold on. And I can see my chat this time, but is it showing that I'm live streaming? Let me back up real quick. Oh, it started a new one. I thought I jumped into the one I had scheduled. Technology, right, guys? All right, let me fix this real quick. I wanted the thumbnail to be on there, but I don't get what we want sometimes, right, guys? I'm gonna delete that so y'all don't get that confused. And then put this one up here. Troubleshooting. I was like, why does it say being on behalf is just live? I was like, all right, let me change that. And then boom. Then join that one. I was wondering, I was like, why ain't okay. Scheduled for October 15th is wild. This was not scheduled for October 15th. Today's the 17th. Get on track, computer. All right. Now that we got that out of the way. So yeah, like I said before, guys, Obama. So we had some new data came out. Some new data came out, and the data was about. Get into the interesting part of that movie. Fun fact: sometimes TV in the background distracts me a little bit. So let's set that up. So some new data came out. It's not related to what Obama is talking about, but Obama is valuing the education. This is not his Hamilton University, not Hamilton. I think it's Hamilton College, but this is not that interview. He's doing an interview with, the interview is with Mark Maron, if I said it right. Mark Maron, like Marilyn. It's like Marilyn Wayne, like the actor, but Maron, I believe, Maron, Maron. But it's the WTF podcast. And so Obama posted it on his YouTube channel. It says, my conversation with Mark Maron. They don't directly address the compact. I thought they directly addressed it. I have not watched it like straight through. I was trying to find that specific part of them so we could react to it. But I would play the part that was most interesting to me, that I was trying to find it and dissect it through. Because the WTF podcast does not really, they don't really like clip up things like that. They like to run it straight through to force you to watch it, which is really good. So I'm gonna play that to start the live stream out. Then we'll do the live screen. Then we'll do the disclaimer and all the good stuff, right? Shout out to Nike for getting free advertisement. I made that thing look a little bit, don't it? Just a little bit. I see it tired. Blood in my eyes, I'm going blind. Oh, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I like Kodak. I do like Kodak. I like Kodak, y'all. Very lyrical, very polished, very what's that? Misunderstood. Very misunderstood. Oh, y'all trying to set this live stream up for us real quick. So I'm about to play that for us. It's pretty loud, but I like to make sure y'all can hear it. All right.
A sense of like people helping each other. Like I believe that what you're talking about, politically in terms of what we spoke about earlier, that people are different. Some may have different beliefs, but there was a compromise that could be met, and that tolerance in and of itself was
just pay attention to Obama.
Conditional to democracy working.
Forbearance, I think, is the formal term the political science uses. You have to put up with folks.
That's right.
If they, as long as they're not actively hurting you.
Right.
you've got to put up with them. And you can battle them, and ultimately it gets sorted out in politics, and the winners get to move their agenda forward, and the losers lick their wounds and come back later.
Yeah.
But there's always that sense of, but we're not going to call each other vermin.
Right.
And we're not going to try to crush you if you lose.
That's right. But
we're not going to target you.
But the brains have been, broken, through exploiting grievance and anger. And, in talking about the left, that the fact that so many decided to not vote at a protest because they didn't feel that the situation in Israel, the ethnic cleansing of Gaza and whatnot, was not going to be dealt with by Kamala, or however that goes. So you get this protest vote of people not willing to make a compromise for what you used to talk about as the incremental progress.
Yeah. Well, and look, that's the thing that I spend a lot of time talking to younger leaders about this.
Yeah.
And there's no simple solution to it, but I will say that part of what a liberal democracy requires is an acceptance of partial victory.
Right.
And not perfection. When I was in the White House, I'd sit around on any issue with my cabinet or my staff, senior staff, and we'd go around analyzing everything. And at some point I'd say, all right, I think I've got all the information. If we do X, is this going to make things better? Because, and I'd tell them, better is good.
Yeah.
We're not going to get to perfect.
Right.
If you're telling me that the Affordable Care Act is going to insure 50 million people, do I think that's better than if we were starting from scratch and I could get a single payer plan instituted and get that through Congress, and suddenly we had universal health care and we had taken the profit motive out of? Do I think that would probably be a smarter way to do it? Absolutely.
Right.
But since I can't do that,
Yeah.
I don't have the votes for that. How about this?
Yeah. We can make it better.
We can make it better.
Right.
And this this sense that things aren't worth it unless we get everything we want.
Okay. So I stopped it there. It was only like 3 minutes being played. To be exact, 3 minutes, 3 seconds. It went a little over. So yeah, the main thing about that Obama highlights, very well spoken, man. I love listening to Obama talk. He doesn't do enough like laid back, showing his intellectual abilities type of interviews. Cause you go look at his old stuff, it's very like advanced, diplomatic, navigate. You gotta break it down, really know what he's saying, big words, right? And so hearing him put it in simple terms is, I ain't gonna lie, it's kind of soothing. Cause like listening to Obama talk sometimes, I'm driving, I'm like, I'm dozing off a little bit, but it's not that I'm bored. It's just the voice tone, but very well spoken. So he mentioned in there about political science. He mentions the variety of education throughout the whole, the whole interview. He mentions higher education throughout and why it's important. He doesn't say directly like I do. He doesn't do it directly. He puts it in like very, very like, he puts it in there like increments. Like you got to listen to the interview and catch it, because like it was something he said before that led to that conversation on WTF podcast that I love. But he said that political science teaches you you have to accept and deal with people, whether they win or lose. And why is that important? Because that's the value of higher education. That's the value of college. That's the value of learning, like, look, I can't win everything, but I can definitely learn how to deal with things. And people today are feeling like, with the current administration, we're nonpartisan, but people are feeling very pessimistic. My life is over. It's Armageddon. It's the end of the world. When Now he does speak on it that like you don't supposed to do this. I think he said it in that little segment. You don't supposed to bash or target people when you win, but he does says it teaches you you have to deal with people. It's something I emphasize, not in that way, but I mention it. I mention it a little bit. Like you have to learn how to. You have to learn how to. When you don't win, I'm thinking when I look away. When you don't win at something, you do have to learn how to deal with it. And I love to put things in simple terms. When I don't win at a video game, right? I gotta deal with my brother talking trash, beating me. Cause in sports, what we call it, sportsmanship. Education, they might call it sportsmanship, but they might call it like your education. Like he said, political science degree. They're teaching you how to be. I was just telling somebody, when you go to college, you're learning how to put things in a way that doesn't scare people, which is why I love the way I am now. Because back then, I didn't know how to put things in perspective to help people understand. I feel like you have to do it one way. Because based on that poverty mindset, most people in poverty mindset, which is why crime happens, most people in poverty mindsets, if you ever been around somebody from poverty, on the side note, they're going to say, like, all I know how to do, you probably heard in interviews, all I know how to use is my hands. All I know how to use is my weapon that they have, and I don't know how to communicate. It's like one of the main factors. Even that's a main factor for parents in poverty areas. They don't know how to communicate. College teaches you how to communicate. It doesn't really matter what degree you get. You're learning how to communicate, which is why you probably take psychology in your prereqs, like psychology 1101 or 101 in different places. That's why you're learning different that's why you're learning this psychology. That's why you're taking sociology. And most people wonder why am I taking these classes? I don't need to take these classes. I just need to jump straight in my program. Because when you jump straight in your program and you don't understand how to be, what's that word? When you don't know how to be, I'm gonna just use the word. When you don't know how to have, there you go. When you don't know how to have sympathy for people, you get bad results in life. And so I'm not going to go that far to say what's going to happen to you, but people need to be calm. People need to feel hope. And Obama talks about that a lot. People need to feel calm, hope, belief, trust, keywords that he used throughout his interview and many times. And so the political science degree that he said, it teaches you to accept. It teaches you that I lost. Like I say, sportsmanship is a great way. When you lose at something, I play my big brother in video games. He beats me bad. If he got good sportsmanship, he's going to be like, it's all right. You'll give me next time and talk about it, what I should do better, da-da-da. We shake hands, or not shake hands, but, whatever big brothers do sometimes. Everybody has a different culture what they do, so I don't know. But normally what we do, we just play again and then until we get tired. But you show sportsmanship though in sports. When you lose to a team, you don't say, "Oh yeah, we beat y'all," and then we go the other way. You say you shake hands. They line up at the end of the game. They shake hands. They line up, talk maybe, and then they go their separate ways because you have to show sympathy for the other team. Because if you don't show sympathy for the other team that you just beat by 20 or 30, 40 points in their home gym, for my basketball people or any sport really, you're going to have very angry fans, and they're going to throw trash at you, and it's going to be ugly, and it's going to be hard to get you out that gym safely. So you want to show love and support because you never know. You might have to go back to that same area and play another team in a different perspective. Just putting it in sports, right? And the same thing in politics. You don't want to bash anybody or talk down on anybody or any party, which creates division, of course, going back to the higher education perspective. And he also said that accepting a partial victory. Why is that important? Because nowadays, most people don't accept partial victories. I feel like they were talking about social media a little bit. They were talking about how, like, what's up, G? They were talking about how, like, podcasting messes up your perspective. It gives you a skewed perspective on things because you're not watching, like, whole videos or listening to whole podcasts. You're only watching the clips. And they kind of bash shorts, I'm going to say, in a way, based on my perspective in this, watching this a little bit. it's not a bad thing. I think shorts are a great way of like, hey, you need to watch the whole video and not just watch 20 or 30 seconds and think you know something. Like, it could be like, oh, you need to put this ointment on your wound, but you only watched the 30 seconds version, but you forgot to see that you were supposed to put a band-aid on it. Now it's still going to get infected. Now you're saying this person who presented this information to you, which is why I left the shorts area a little bit. And I would rather do shorts for fun or some marketing, looking cool things. But I would not really want to put information in shorts. That's why I kind of pivot from that to videos. Then now I'm doing live screens because then we could talk in real time. And then you could correct me if I'm wrong, or if I feel like you're wrong, we can discuss it. So now we're in a time, I feel like now, that this is a time to discuss things instead of just listening to somebody talk, give and take. Which is why I say in the future I'm gonna bring on other higher ed professionals, hear their take, hear their perspectives. We need conversation. We don't need one person talking. We don't need that right now. We need multiple exchanges. That's why I always tell G, talk G, respond G, let me know G, because it's not just me talking. Like, yes, I got the debt-free degree. I can give you the tools and what you should be doing. But more of all, let's put the higher education, the higher level thinking, the higher education back into it and why it's valuable, which is why we're going to talk about Georgetown University dropped some new data as well. Shout out to Chronicle Higher Education. But Obama and, like I said, WTF podcast, this is going to be a good interview. I love watching these type of interviews with Obama. Like I said, he's laid back. But overall, higher education is a way of being humble. G said, I'm here. I'm here, or higher education is a way of learning being humble. I always been humble, but higher education made me more humble. Like I said, guys, most people think most people think higher ed professionals are broke, when that's not the case. I always talk about because my career field, but my higher education people just like to be very low key. In my terms, they like to dress humbly. They invest wisely. They don't drive fancy cars. It's just about the industry you're in, right? You pick up on them habits and learn from them. So if you go to any higher education campus besides the big ones, like the big universities, and see what those presidents drive, but even they drive something simple. Like, I think a good example would be, I saw the president of Georgia Tech, which is ironic. So Georgia Tech is a very, like, before I do the disclaimer, Georgia Tech is a very, like, green earth school. So by them being a green earth school, it wouldn't be ideal for the president to get caught driving a gas car on the campus. So he was driving, if it was his car, he was driving a full electric car. Now, some people are like, why does that matter? Because that's part of what I learned in higher education. That's part of campus climate. That could be a very political controversy for the president. And then the president can have to deal with students protesting. Then when students protest, it can make students transfer. And then there are other green colleges out there. You see, Georgia Tech is probably one of the most known ones. Environment friendly. Some students literally choose schools based on environment friendly. Is this school helping farmers? Is this school helping animals? Is this school... People pick schools based off of this stuff. This stuff go deep, man. But, yeah, man, Obama always puts in a great way why higher education is important. And I think I really want somebody like him to go into office again, so that I'm like, hey, man, higher ed people... Part of why I choose Columbia. That's dope, because we're gonna definitely talk about that, because he did go to Columbia. Obama did go to Columbia, and it just, man, he makes it so cool to go to college. Third term Obama wouldn't sound bad. I just need a pay raise in my career field. The YouTube ain't cutting it right now. We ain't making no money from YouTube, so we need somebody to come in here and give us a pay raise in higher ed. Like, the president is already getting paid, the execs getting paid. You know what I'm saying? People like me who do like the academic advising, You know, we'll like to see our checks a little nice, not crazy nice, just really nice. Man, my grocery budget went up by $20. G, my house essentials budget went up by $20. I said, dang. I said, dang, man, it's like $80 because I do it for the whole month. That's $80, man. That's a big increase. That's a big increase. I was riding off that 60 a month. It don't take much for me to budget for groceries. I bet some people be like, how do you get $60, $80 of groceries? Well, just a little inside. Before me and my girl was living together, I didn't need that many groceries, especially when going back home, mom cooking, asking me to come get the food. My job feeds me a lot of times too, which is a great benefit working at higher ed for me. My job feeds me. It's really simple and still maintain a good weight if I want to. It's really simple to have a very good budget. Like $60 was lasting me, but now it's like 80. It's probably gonna be 100 pretty soon. But it was nice. Like it's gonna be 80 a month for groceries and house essentials. But tariffs are kicking in on that side note, G. And disclaimer real quick. Free food was one of the perks for me as well. Cause yeah, you was talking about that. You always was getting free food at Columbia. Like you was telling me some crazy stuff about the free food too, G. Like yours was like it seemed like y'all was giving out free food every day. I'm like, especially how big your school is, it probably was free food like every day on that campus to be exact. It probably was free food. Like so many events probably was going on. Was there a lot of events going on at Columbia, G? Like, was there like an event every day due to how big the institution was? It was like that, yeah. I know Georgia Tech was like that. It was like an event every day. It was always something going on. You just had to know where to find it, yeah. Because Georgia Tech, they even had a group chat. Like, yeah, G said, yeah, of course. They even had a group chat of like free food at Georgia Tech because they did it so much. I was like, that is dope. That is dope. Because I even thought about using it. I think I said that before. I even thought about using it. And I wasn't even a student. I'm staff, but people don't know the difference. People at my job now think I'm a student. I'm like, you work so hard to dress professional and still be thinking you're a student. At this point, people going to think what they think. It's not, I don't, you know, it's a compliment, but it's still like, come on, guys. Come on. There was a Facebook group, but I didn't use it. Oh. Oh no, G. I'm looking for the before we get into the information. So y'all should check out that interview though. Check out that interview with Barack Obama on WTF podcast. It's like I said, it's on Barack Obama's YouTube channel. I'm gonna watch that most likely. Yeah. Not most likely. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it most likely. Group chat as well. Oop, can't be letting y'all see that. You seen that? You already caught it. Can't be letting people get free advertisement. Disclaimer. Oop, I'm sorry, Cook. Disclaimer. You probably can replay it back though. Disclaimer. The videos presented here are for informational purposes only, and therefore, if you are to choose to attend an institution, please do your own research and consult. And therefore, you are to choose to attend an institution, please do your own research and consult with a specialist at the institution you are interested in. I am not a financial aid specialist, academic advisor, or representing any institution. Speaking on behalf of Creator, Henry is only speaking from his experience. I'm gonna be honest with you, G. I feel like a lot of people are saying on my behalf lately, and I feel like that's because of me. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm being a little conceited right now, G. I feel like a lot of people are saying on my behalf because of me. I'm going in people comment sections now, and I'm just saying on my behalf. And then I'm saying thank you for your service. Because people are saying on my behalf or on their behalf. I don't speak on their behalf. I'm like, dang. Is the video lurking in places that I don't know about? Let me know. Let me know. You are LOL, but I feel you. Like just a little, like, we got that trademark, right, G? Speaking on behalf of the way I got it, that's trademark. So people, hey, I'm watching, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for people to use it now. I'm watching. I'm watching. They'll be the first donors to the business. I'm watching. It is crazy. Oh, we're gonna go over the compact too. I know. I definitely want to hear your perspective. Have you been hearing about the compact that Trump sent out, G? We're definitely going over that. Definitely going over that. That's actually what we're gonna do now, G. Once again, I wish you could see it. Wish you could see it right now. So we're not gonna read the whole thing, of course. The compact bill is 10 pages, guys, and you can't see it. So you know me, my goal is to keep you engaged while I go through this compact. Because when I seen it, I was like, DT go crazy, bro. Like I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're in this higher ed space and you're not trying to capitalize off this moment with him, I don't know what to say. Unless I just wasn't paying attention in the Biden administration because I was still trying to find my lane, figure out how I want to do this. I don't recall this much news about higher ed. I don't recall like him really attacking these universities. Like, hey, you got to sign this bill or you face the consequence. And it's just like, but a lot of schools been saying no. I haven't heard of one school saying they're going to say yes. So it says the compact for academic excellence in higher education. The introduction, as I always read the top line. I'm gonna try to find important things. It said, now G, I want you to. I'm gonna put it in the comment section first. My comment section is working now, G. It's working. I think I had to do some things, but it's working now. So now I can go back. Let's see. Let me know what you think on that, G. Oh, my God. Yeah. So I put it in the live chat, say the group chat. I put it in the live chat. So I should hook that up. That'd been smooth to have it right over there while I do that. That's cool though. All right, quit. Setting up my split screen. Boy, setup gonna be crazy. I feel sorry for people when the studio gets set up. It says American higher education is the envy of the world and represents a key strategic benefit for our nation. Now I'm gonna tell you right now. When I read that first line, I just stopped and went to something else. I asked my girl, I said, what does envy mean? Because I didn't know what context they were mentioning. She was like, when you're jealous or of someone. And I said, man, that sounds like Trump. That just sounds like something he would say. He didn't write it, but they definitely use his type of terminologies, whoever wrote it, and they did a really good job. Because I was like, envy? I was like, what? Envy? And the definition of envy, just make sure I'm not mistaken, jealousy, resentment, and you get the rest. So, American higher education is the envy of the world and represents a key strategic benefit for our nation. It's like jealousy, but like, hey, you need this. It's going to help the world move forward. Higher education does help the world move forward, by the way. In turn, the U.S. university system, he didn't say community college, U.S. university system benefits in a variety of ways from its extraordinary relationship with the U.S. government. And then it says this includes the student loan, access to student loans, grant programs, and federal contracts. 2, funding for research directly or indirectly. 3, approval of student and other visas in connection with university matriculation. I'm just saying matriculation, but I think we all know that word. And instruction, if I said it right. And IV, which is 4, pretty much preferential. Hold on, I want to pronounce that. Preferential. I think it's preferential.
Preferential.
Whoa. Y'all heard the echo.
Preferential.
Yeah. Okay. It's funny. I saw that word recently. And then he said preferential treatment under the tax code. Yeah, you know Trump has some hands on this a little bit. He was reading a little bit because that tax code, that's all him. And I see you saying something in here, G. I'm going to it real quick. Before we jump back, come on, computer. Let me see right quick. There we go. I want to push it to the side a little more. G said YouTube ain't like that. YouTube ain't like what I said, LOL. But I'm glad schools are rejecting. Yeah, I've been noticing, G, you've been getting a lot of retractions lately. I'm like, dang. And then G said, I'm glad schools are rejecting it. Yes, because why? We need our academic freedom. We need our democracy in colleges, guys. We need that. So, G, that's all you said so far? I know they took a lot of your comments back. Feel free to comment. We got more people in here right now. So, to advance, this is the introduction. To advance the national interest arising out of the unique relationship, this compact for academic excellence in higher education represents the priorities of the United States government in its engagements with universities that benefit from the leadership. Institutions of higher education are free to develop models and values other than those below if the institution elects to forego federal benefits. He said he's gonna take y'all federal money. They said in the live stream, I don't know if it was not the live stream, in the Obama interview. I don't know. I didn't hear it. I didn't find it, and I wanted to find it. But they said Obama said something along the lines of, "This is why endowments are useful. This is why you should use endowments." Because if you're going to lose federal money, your endowment should be able to hold you. I think everything is about timing. So let's keep going. So equality in admissions. We already know where this is going to go. I think I can read the first line and know where this is heading. So discriminatory admission processes reflect a fundamental misunderstanding not only of civil rights law and the U.S. Constitution, but of the damaging impact such practices have on individuals and our nation as a whole. And so G said Obama on the right train. Exactly. Obama on the right train. Yeah, like I do feel like if you got these other funds of money, why not use them as a university? It just don't make sense. You use them for everything else. Why not use it for that? Like, these kids have to go to school. They do need money, you know. I'm not the most liberal. I'm not the most conservative. But it's just right. Like, I use federal money going through undergraduate. And I'm not gonna say it didn't help me, because it helped me a lot. But I do understand. I did understand in that time. I was thinking as if I had a Trump in office already, that if you took my federal money, I had my own money ready to deploy. And that's my mindset. Most people don't have that mindset. That's why I talk about the stock market while going to college, which is interesting. I was talking to a student at my job recently, and G said, well, specifically criticism of his government. And then G said he's tightening his grip on free speech. And what else, G? I was talking to a student too. Oh, and thought. Okay, free speech and thought. I know, right? Hope you don't come get me. Don't come get me. I'm just giving out higher education. Just talking about higher education stuff. Many people don't listen to that yet. Yet. I feel like we're gonna be more popular than. I feel like higher education in the future, when we keep going, when we keep going, G, we're gonna be bigger than the stock market. Because education ties into making money. I just can't make it no more simple than that. I'm not even the most number person. Like, a lot of my success in life has been because I was educated going forward. Success, like learning, just led to more easy success decisions, if that makes sense. I already made good decisions coming up, but when I added the education and understand history and understanding human behavior, it's like playing chess every day in life. It's kind of a grand scheme. And so G said, like what he did at the Pentagon. What he did at the Pentagon? What happened at the Pentagon, G? What happened at the Pentagon? Jalen Tauber, 6162. The U.S. military commander stepped down. Oh, yeah. I did hear about that. Military commander stepped down because of some things. You know, guys, I'm in the military, so free speech, right? If awkward moment, right? Hey, I'm flagged up, red, blue, and white for life. But I'm gonna read this comment. I'm gonna tell y'all a story. I was talking to this student at my college I work at, and man, he just made me double down on this even more, triple down, for quadruple down more. Like, I'm gonna tell y'all this story. So G said he was trying to make news groups sign a pact. Oh yeah, Department of War. Yeah. I seen that today. I was seeing that when I was getting my brakes done on my car today. I saw that. Ain't that crazy how that relates to education? He was trying to make news groups sign a pact to essentially not acknowledge and report on whistleblowers. Look it up. I seen the video, G. Absurd. And I seen that he said Fox didn't even sign it. Yeah, that's crazy. Fox, CNN, and I think they said Newsmax didn't sign it. Was a guy speaking on it. And so it's gonna, and Obama said that in his Obama mentioned that in that interview. I quote, Obama mentioned that in that interview. Obama said, this is how you lead to like slavery, World War II. He was talking about all these factors of what we're going through now leads to these things. Like, I'm telling y'all gotta check out the interview. Obama can dig in. I was just saying it to myself. I said, Obama can dig into them archives, man. He can dig into them archives. He was talking about forbearance. I don't even know what forbearance is. I need to learn what that is. And other things that I'm just like, yo, you're like how many hours you read a day? I need to learn. How many hours you read a day? I know I probably spend a little too much time in school reading, you know, but how many hours you spend a day reading so I can add that into my daily life. And so G said, I agree that education is important, but I think we have to redefine higher education for sure, G. We do. And then G said, Obama has always been an interesting character. Yeah. I think he's a prolific. Are you a prolific reader, G? How fast do you read? I know, okay, guys, I don't really get caught up in how fast somebody read, but I do admire it. Because I was talking to one of my supervisor / mentor right now at my current job, and he's like a prolific reader, but he did admit that he slowed down a lot because his age and stuff like that, and some other health factors due to COVID. But G, okay, G said, I saw Michelle on her book tour a while back, and she talked about how he mute G in these words. See, G, you ain't no better than Obama using these big words. She ain't no better sometimes. I tell y'all. I appreciate G, man. I appreciate G. Hold on. I think that's mute. Maul. Okay, savage attack. That is an interesting word to use, G. And so I saw Michelle on her book tour a while back, and she talked about how he mauls over every single detail he can before he makes decisions. And then I used to be a prolific reader, but I would say I'm by far the fastest reader I know. By margins. That's interesting. That's so interesting, man. Like how fast some people can read and the different styles of reading. So the style of reader I am, guys, so you don't think I'm just some overly smart person. I'm just a person who applies myself a lot. I'm a reader. I highlight everything and I read it multiple times. Like I might take a minute to read a book. Prime example. This book, y'all see me with this book right here. This book is thin. I have not picked this book up probably, well, I've been making some gains in it, as you can see. Skipped through some things I didn't need, but if I'm on a page and I don't understand it, I'm gonna read it like kind of like what G said. I'm gonna read it over and over and over until I understand that page. That's just me. I'm gonna highlight. I'm gonna Google the terms until I understand the page. But I know I got to keep reading to understand it sometimes. But if I feel like it's not like in the next suspended pages, I'm not understanding from that page. Like I'm not gonna lie to you. I would stay there until I figure it out. Cause I know I'm not a fast reader, right? But I play to my strengths. That's all I'm gonna leave it at. So G said that's because I used the wrong word. LOL. It's mule over. Let me see. Ponder. Okay, yeah, I use ponder a lot. I use ponder. Consider. Okay. JT, don't talk down on yourself. You read well. I do. I do read well. I do. But humbly speaking, most people looking at me from the outside will probably think I'm just, most people think when you go to college, they think you're like some big, like, that's what we gotta tell kids that look like us at least. They think when we go to college that we're just so brilliant. We are in our own way, of course, but we're just, as I tell people, we just submit our assignments on time. My 3.8, 3.9 GPA, I just submit on time. I can be honest with you. There are times, I hope my professors don't see this. There are times when I'm like, I think I'm gonna make a 60 because I know I ain't put my best work, but I work so hard to always put my best work no matter what. My least amount of work might destroy somebody on their weakest work. Did I say that right? My weakest work will destroy somebody's best work. That's how I meant to say it. But G said I'm the kind of guy who just tracks his finger down the middle of the page. LOL. Most people don't think I'm actually reading. LOL. Yeah, I seen people like that. They'll just be like, and you know what I say? I say you ain't finna retain nothing. You're not finna retain nothing you over there reading. You ain't finna retain nothing. I don't say nothing though, because I'm like they might retain it. And G said college students are a different breed because even the most studious submit the day of. Me, I just submitted my midterm paper. The midterm paper I was working on, G, I submitted that like 2 days ago. But my professor changed the due date to Saturday. Hey, don't knock all my points off. JT said, so forget what people think of you. You are a boss. Appreciate that. So that is somebody I know pretty good right there. That's why they talking like that. But G said, I don't do that. I literally go down the page. LOL, it be like that. Sure you don't, okay? So the next part of the compact, guys, as we're talking about the compact, they're saying that they need to be equality in admissions. Me, G for sure. JT 6162, we got you here. We talked about equality in admissions. They're pretty much trying to say like, hey, everybody's the same. We don't care about your backstory. We don't care about where you came from in life. It doesn't matter. And you're just going to apply to the school, essentially. Taking out all of that, everybody's the same when they apply. And then they're bringing back standardized test scores. JT 612. Did y'all hear about it's an Ivy League, I think. Princeton, I think. Don't quote me. I think Princeton brought back the SAT. Yes, I know it's you, Tisha. I know it's you. Did y'all hear about that? I think Princeton brought back the SAT. I think it was Princeton. I know it's an Ivy League. Princeton brings back SAT. I don't know if it was Princeton. Let me see. Yes, it was Princeton. Good memory, Henry. Thank you. Good memory. Fall 2027, Princeton brings back the SAT. Princeton University has announced that it will require SAT or ACT scores for undergraduate admission starting with the fall 2027 admission cycle. And G said, I don't think there is any issue with that as long as these schools don't lose what makes them good in the first place. Okay, I like that perspective. Princeton was begging for me to go there, humbly. Gee, I like it. I was gonna talk about, man, they were begging me. They were recruiting me. It's no difference. Hey, I tell people it's no difference from when an athlete be like, I had this school knocking down the door. That's the mentality we have about going to college around here. Hey, Princeton was knocking down the door for G and some other schools I can't name off the top of my head. And then Tisha said, no, I didn't. What you talking about? What you talking about, Tisha? What you talking about, Tisha? No, I didn't. What you talking about? What you responding to, Tisha? Let me know. G said it's the kind of students that they recruit. Yes. And so bringing back the test scores, though, what was I going to say about that? Oh, part of the compact, part of the administration, guys. This is why it's important to know these little details. But like I said, students ain't going to care, typically, unless you're just different, a different type of student. Your parents, they should care. Your guardians or people around you, you put it in the chat. You put it in the chat. It's kind of this. It's the kind of students that they recruit. G, and you can't change your admissions process too much if you want to continue to attract those types of students. Because good students may not always have good test scores. That is true. That is true. I told you myself, my what was it? My SAT score was like a 930. It was low, man. ACT was very low. I'm not a good test taker. Oh, well, at least I used to be. Let me revert. Let me have to rewire the brain. I'm better now. But beforehand, nah, I used to get scared at a test. I think I wasn't prepared properly for them though most of the time, looking back. And so Tisha said I didn't hear about the Princeton thing, LOL. Yo. And then G said, who may not have had the best access to tutors and whatnot. That is true. Tutors are not cheap. Resources are not cheap, and we talk about that. And so the everybody gonna have their opinions on the SAT and ACT. I think in a short way, I don't think that's something I just can't debate about, because at the end of the day, it's just some people, like you said, G, it's just some people who can take tests really good and just some people who can't take tests. There's some people like they can study, break their neck studying, and they still will not have, how can you put it? They still will not have a higher score than somebody who can naturally pass a test. Like, it's like somebody who can just play sports. Like, you just can play sports. And then somebody who works hard at sports, and you could be like me, you could be average, but you just won't be like that person who's just good at sports. It just be like that. And so G said if these highly selective schools start selecting students like public schools, they will get those type of students, and of course the rich kids and legacy. Yeah. Higher education leads to a legacy. I had good test scores, but I can completely understand that there are extremely intelligent who are not good test takers. Yeah. For sure. So number 2 on the compact is marketplace of ideas and civil discourse. Let me see what it is. Truth seeking is a core function of institutions of higher education. Fulfilling this mission requires maintaining a vibrant marketplace of ideas where different views can be explored, debated, and challenged. Okay. It's interesting. But not really applying to us in this channel right now. Let's keep going. Oh, this is related definitely to they got this kind of going on at George Mason University. Non-discrimination in faculty and administrative hiring. In the year, I'm gonna leave it right there. In the year 2024, in the United States of America, in the state of California, in the city of Los Angeles, Jewish students were excluded from portions of the UCLA campus because they refused to denounce their faith. Somebody fact check me on this. Is this true? In the year 2024, in the United States of America, in the state of California, in the city of Los Angeles, Jewish students were excluded from portions of the UCLA campus because they refused to denounce their faith. This fact is so unimaginable and so abhorrent, if I said that right, to our constitutional guarantee of religious freedom that it bears repeating. Jewish students were excluded from portions of the UCLA campus because they refused to denounce their faith. I don't know how true that is. Somebody fact check that. I don't know how true that is. But we're gonna go to another segment. Y'all know how I feel about that. Especially in this current administration, you just gotta be like, use your education, use your common sense in some cases. G said, I also love to see someone you know on your live. Anytime I do something public, I want the people I know to not know for some reason. Huh? Anytime I do something public, I want the people I know to not know. I appreciate that, G. Appreciate that. It's true, but not the school's fault. Not the school's fault. Okay. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, okay. I about to say I don't think the schools are. How can you put it? It's never really the school, hopefully, but it's usually the students. We're actually talking about that. G, interesting. G and Tisha, we're actually talking about that right now in my class of organizational theory, where we're breaking down institutional problems versus individual problems. And sometimes people don't know how to separate the factors of like, it's an institutional problem and not, it's an institution problem. It could be an individual problem and not an institution problem, or an institution problem and not an individual problem. And we separating that. I think that's like the real focus of the class right now as I'm learning it in the moment. But it helps me in the future breaking down like when we got school problems going on and we're looking at a course during a live stream when you can see me looking at these articles. Literally, we're breaking down articles of like from the outside looking in based on what people wrote. We're breaking down what possibly went down. And so, man, like I said, man, like I was against the program at first of higher education. I was talking to somebody recently. I gotta tell you about this student real quick before we get back to the compact. So I was against the grad program at where I'm at now, man, but it's really good. It makes you really perfect at your craft. I feel like I'm gonna have some competition or collaboration moments with my classmates. Hopefully they're not shy. Because I really want them to come on here. They have very good, interesting perspectives about higher ed, and they work at higher ed. But that's probably gonna be my biggest, hardest problem to do, is to get them to talk publicly, because a lot of people in higher ed are, I would say, they're fearful right now, a little bearish, with everything going on. Like these are people's livelihoods, and so we're trying to foster that community, right? About why you should speak out, about why kids need to know this information. Because me saying it is good, but most people are going to think I'm crazy right now, saying that you can get a debt-free degree in college, save money in college, live on your own while going to college, get a car while in college. Most people think this stuff is impossible. At these times, they think this is impossible. But G said, he makes cultural problems institutional problems. Yeah, he being Trump. Well, they probably just want to stay out of the way. Yeah. And I was talking to this student, man, at work. And he's doing exactly what I did in college. And I'm pretty sure more people did this too. I know you did it, G. And he said, we were talking, and then I always check on students. That's one of the reasons why I love the job I do as an academic advisor at the institution that I am at, is that you can just talk to students and check on them. And you get that certain level of respect. They know you're serious because you're in that position, and they come to you for class recommendations. And so his journey, though, he's planning to transfer to a university. He's planning to transfer to KSU, actually. And so, but he's getting like a mechanical electrical engineering degree. I think that's what it is. Pretty much mechanical engineering. But he works full time while he's at his community college. And so, which is the one I'm at, he works full time. And then he knows, like, it's like, man, he getting to it. He works full time. He's investing in the index fund while he's in college and trying to grow his wealth while he's in college, which is what I tell students they should do. If you work, you should invest in the index fund. And he said the S&P X. I believe that's the index. Don't quote me, guys, off the top of my head. I believe the SPS is the index. And he said easily, you know, it just gives me 12% return on my money. So whatever money he's putting in now from, like, think about it, from this year or the upcoming January 2026 year, he knows that's going to easily get him 8 to 12% in the market. And I was like, bro, that's dope. I be talking about that on my live streams. And then he said he's planning on transferring. He's going to do the same thing. And then he was like, I'm debating between staying on campus and staying off campus. I was like, bro, you should stay off campus. And because I was like, that's just going to charge your tuition to be more. I said, then you got to get a meal plan because they're going to force you to get a meal plan. And then I was like, you could just stay off campus, get an apartment close to the campus, and then commute there. I was like, you're close. You might not need to commute, depending on how the setup is. But I was like, usually your university will recommend where you can stay off campus. And I was like, get that money back if you do get financial aid. Because every student don't get financial aid. If anything, you're still going to be able to pay for classes, working full time, and you're investing. You have to be good with money to do this. I will say that. It's like a core value. My core had to be right. My core is like budgeting. You have to have a good core in order to have a very financially free higher education journey. You need to have a good budgeting system. Then investing, that's a whole nother field, but you can get a financial advisor for that. It's so many resources that you can use. You don't have to be that's been my advantage in life, G. And G said, oh, I just seen this. G said because they got bills to pay, right, like you said, and it's their livelihood, right? And then G said, I had a cousin go to Kennesaw. Right, Kennesaw, man, KSU. The fact that you knew that was KSU is crazy. I said KSU. I don't think I said Kennesaw, but what was that next part? I never claimed to be an expert in anything, and that's the best way to get a debt-free degree. Not being an expert. Don't be an expert. If I didn't know something, I went and got help. Even if they gave the most, if they seem like, you know how you just meet people one time and they don't seem like their advice is right, you know, that bad advice can lead me to somebody who knows more a little bit. And so, what can I say? When I didn't know how to do financial things, I had a financial advisor. When I didn't know what to do with course recommendations or what classes I should take, I sat behind advisors at my 2-year college when I was a part-time receptionist at the 2-year I was at when I first went to school, Columbus Tech. I shadow, essentially, always listened to the advisors and how they did their course recommendations. And when they did it with me, real life experience. And then I perfected it. It was the same thing when you went to university. It's the same thing when you go to graduate school. It doesn't change. The classes change, but the rhyme and remedy of it doesn't change. But that student, though, man, he enlightened me because it showed me that I wasn't the only one doing it. And it showed me that if they have guidance, they have some other input, that they can save more money going to college and potentially get a debt-free degree. That's what I feel. And so that made my day because he's a grinder. And we exchanged talking about stocks and companies and real good conversation. Good 10 to 20 minute conversation while we was getting tacos. We had a food truck come to the campus. So we had a good conversation. Then G said, think of the most generic advisor, and that would be my general advisor, LOL. He wasn't bad, just one of the mill. Did you say one of the mill or run of the mill? But I get that though. Yeah, I get that. Most advisors are like, most people who are academic advisors don't like their job. Blows my mind. They don't want to run into a person like me. Because I care. I'll tell students to call me. Run of the mill is a saying. What does that mean then, G? I never heard run of the mill. That's a different saying. Be careful, G. That run of the mill might tell me where you at. It might tell me who you are. G said, I think it's because he had like 400 students. He had 400 students. 400 students. Do I got about 400 students? That doesn't mean nothing, G. Don't defend him. Don't defend him or her. 400 students ain't. They just don't know how to do their job. They ain't have a good system in place. I'm gonna say that. All right, back to the compact. G said, look it up. I'm gonna look it up. And they did their job. I'll say that. Apparently, you graduated, so they did it pretty good, right? But the goal as an academic advisor is for the student to grow their own wings. So you did come out pretty good, G. I guess you grew your own wings. I'm pretty sure you started registering yourself and all that good stuff, all that good jazz, right? And G said he was just very distant or professional. That's good. Most people like to be very professional. They don't want to. We never know what happened in the past. Somebody probably lied on them about something. Ain't no telling. So it's very understandable. So institutional neutrality. This is part of the compact. Is one of them. Oh, is it 10 things in here? That's going to be funny if it's 10. Wow, there are 10 things in here. So we're going to go through all 10. I didn't know it was 10 things in here. It's 10 pages, but it's 10 things in here. So we're on... Okay, interesting. So we're on the institutional neutrality. And then G said, I only saw him often because he was on the committee that we both were on. Yeah, I didn't think he was bad at all. He was just very average. That's right. Recommend me, G, to Columbia. Recommend me. Let me sound be a song. Let me see. What'd you say? Columbia does pay well. For sure. Institutional neutrality. I was looking at your messages too, G. I was looking at them. Institutional neutrality. I don't know what institutional neutrality is, but let's see. So signatories shall maintain institutional neutrality at all levels of their administration. This requires policies that all university employees in their capacity as university representatives will abstain from actions or research. Will abstain from actions or speech relating to societal and political events, except in cases in which external events have a direct impact upon the university. Policies, that whole passage right there was what? Because you're saying that this requires policies that all university employees in their capacity as university representatives will abstain from actions or speech relating to societal and political events, except in cases in which external events have a direct impact upon the university. Policies requiring institutional neutrality must apply with equal force to all of universities' academic units, including all colleges, faculties, schools, department, program center, and institutes. All right. As the president of Dartmouth recently explained, they actually put this in here. It's funny because Dartmouth was originally a college created for Native Americans. They always miss that part in history. Consider a student interested in majoring in a certain subject. Upon going to the department homepage to discover course offerings, the student is slapped in the face with an official statement I got you. I got you.